Well, hello again. This is Zippy Duvall, President of American Farm Bureau and host of the Farmside Chat. And, today is kind of bittersweet. We're looking forward to the story we're going to tell you about poinsettias, but it's also an announcement that this is our last podcast of the Farmside Chat. We've had a great time traveling the country and showing you all kinds of agriculture from one side of this country to the other. I just can't say enough about the men and women that I get to meet with each and every day that are our grassroots organization, and how great they are, how innovative they are, how smart and brave they are, how hard they work, and just salt of the earth people that built this country into what it is. And we hope you have enjoyed being able to travel around the country with me and meet some of and learn a lot about what American agriculture provides for you and your family each and every day. So hope you enjoy this episode about that beautiful flower that we always enjoy at a special time of the year, the poinsettia. Welcome to the show, Hank.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. So you was telling me earlier, how far out of Alabama and Rome, Georgia are you?
Well, we're just in the edge of Alabama in Cherokee County, on the shores of Weiss Lake. We're about 15 miles from the Georgia line and about 30 miles from the city of Rome, Georgia.
I have a daughter that lives in Huntsville, so I'm pretty familiar with that area because I try to take different roads going to Huntsville when I leave my home. I'm on the west side, east side of Atlanta, about halfway between Atlanta and Augusta.
Yeah.
Off of I-20. So I usually go down I-20, cross the Georgia line, and then try to head up toward Huntsville somewhere. So next time I come, I'm gonna try to come through your community.
Okay, sounds good. You'll stop by and see us sometime.
And what's the name of the town there?
Center. Centre.
Okay.
Alabama.
Well, you can probably expect me to drop by sometime on my way to my daughter's house.
I'll show you around.
Yeah, we have a great farm show in Georgia. It's called the Sunbelt Expo. I understand that you participated in the Farmer Year Award there. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
Well, yes, sir. In 2019, I was selected as our business was selected as the Farm of Distinction for the state of Alabama by our Farmers Federation, and that entitled me to be involved as the Sunbelt Ag Expo Farmer of the Year for Alabama. And that was a great experience.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, that I think it's 10 different states that send a representative. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's right.
And you get a really nice coat if you get the privilege of going.
Yeah, it's kind of like the went in the, let's see, what's the golf tournament at Augusta? You get the green jacket.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Well, I always since I've been president here in Georgia, I try to go every year. I don't get to go every year, but the dinner they have the night before the expo starts is always a really nice dinner, and recognizing present and past winners. And those, it's amazing to hear those farmers and the history of their farms and the background and how successful they've been and how they've sustained through the difficult times during that time in agriculture. So it's always interesting. I told you early in the show that we're going to talk about colors and flowers that we around a special time of the year, and that's Christmas. And we all know the poinsettia. So let's talk about that wonderful flower a little bit, and tell us a little bit about the process of growing them.
Well, of course, poinsettia is a Christmas flower, and everybody loves those colors. But we've already got the crop started. We start to plant in July. We buy in unrooted cuttings, stick them in the soil in the pot that we're going to finish them in, and we have to mist them. and keep them alive till they get roots. And it takes about 3 weeks to get them rooted and get the mist off completely. And then they start growing. And once they get started growing, then at a certain date, we want to pinch the plant to make it branch. And we do it at a certain date so that it'll have the right size when it comes time for it to start the process of the coloring up. You pinch them too early, they're going to get too big. You pinch them too late, they'll stay too small. So it's a matter of timing.
So when you talk about pinching them, you're just pinching the top off?
Yes, sir. You pinch the top off about an inch or so, and you want to leave 4, 5, 6 leaves on the bottom of the plant for it to branch from. And it'll branch out and make a real nice full pot.
Okay. So where do you get those cuttings?
Well, they come from different parts of the world. Some of them come from California. Some come from South America.
Wow.
And we have had them come from Israel.
But, well, that's interesting. I never would have thought they'd come from out of country. I figured they were somewhere in our country. But so you're saying just all over the world you could get them.
Yeah.
And what dictates that? The variety or the price or what?
It's according to the supplier that you're buying from and certain varieties, depending on that'll dictate where they come from. We most everything we get comes from either California or I believe it's Mexico that they come out of.
Right. So poinsettias. So in the way of telling us a story about your farm, and tell us why poinsettias and how long have you been doing it there?
Well, I'll just give you a little bit of history. We built our first greenhouse in about 1974. Built a little 28 by 96 greenhouse, put a camper shell on a pickup truck, started going out selling plants. We'd pull up to the garden center and tell them we had plants for sale. They'd come out and buy off the truck, and kind of grew from there. After a few years, our banker quit the bank and built some greenhouses. He liked that idea. And so he was, we were, I guess you'd say, competitors at that time. And he kept on at us to come together. And so in 1979, we started Dixie Green, where we came together and we formed a new company. And we've been growing poinsettias as long as I can remember. It just from season to season. In springtime, we grow a wide variety of springtime plants, from vegetables to flowers to foliage, ferns, caladiums, just all types of plants. In the fall, we do the fall mum. And then after that comes the poinsettia. And we also we grew poinsettia. I'm sorry. We root strawberry plants for the strawberry farmers. That's usually happens in the fall, around late August, and they go out September and October. So that's another item we do.
So y'all are real busy all the time. Man, it's not a season to you. It's something going on all the time.
Yes, sir. We work year round. We do have slower times. Basically, when we're not shipping, we can have a little bit slower pace going on. Maybe work a little shorter hours. During shipping season, we work longer hours, and so when we get a chance, we'll slow down a little bit.
So 12 acres of heated greenhouses and 8 acres of outdoor space. It takes quite a few workers to take care of all that, I would think.
it takes a good bit of work and a lot of people. We run on about 35 to 40 people.
Wow.
So
have you got other family involved in your business?
yes, sir. Both my sons are working here. They managing things. I'm kind of stepping back, and they're stepping in, doing a really good job. And both of their wives work here, and so it's a family operation.
That stepping back's harder than it is to say, isn't it?
Yeah, stepping back a little bit, letting them handle things, but I'm not ready to retire.
Yeah. Well, that's we talk a lot about passing on our farms to the next generation, and it is challenging. You take something you've been running, watching each and every day, and step back and look at the child or manager take it over. It's a pretty good shock to your system.
But I'm proud that they're here to do it.
Well, I know you are. All of us would love to have one of our children to come back, and sometimes that's not possible. But when it does happen, it's pretty magical.
Yeah, it's nice.
So I understand. I'd like to talk a little bit about the differences of poinsettias. Are there different varieties? I know there's different colors. I've seen them. Tell us a little bit about the differences of it, and how do you make up your mind which one you want to plant?
Well, there's a lot of varieties of poinsettias. There's well over 100 varieties.
I had no idea.
Most of them are red, and the majority of the poinsettia you sell is red. And of course, we've been growing them for a lot of years, and so as new varieties come out, we try them and see how they do for us. And of course, we pick the varieties that work best for us. And sometimes we'll use a different variety depending on what size pot it's in. We grow anything from a 4-inch to a 16-inch poinsettia. We do 4-inch, 6-inch, 8-inch, 10-inch, and then we do a big 16-inch poinsettia. But the vast majority of the poinsettias sold are red. You see white and pink a lot. There's other specialty varieties out there that you don't see a lot. There's like a marble. There's what's called jingle bells, which has specks on the leaves, and there's lots of different varieties.
Are some harder to grow than others?
For the most part, they're not that hard. Some of them you may have to get it figured out a little bit on, but they're mostly pretty much the same.
What about water and fertilization? They require a lot of both?
They do. We do a combination of feed on the poinsettias. We use liquid feed, which is in our irrigation water when we water. And then once they start coloring up, we have to quit using the liquid feed. And so after we pinch the poinsettia, we put on some time-release fertilizer on top of the soil. And every time it waters, that releases some fertilizer into the poinsettia. Right. And of course, all our watering is overhead. And so when the poinsettia starts changing and the leaves start turning, they get real sensitive, and fertilizer would burn them. So that's why we have to switch to clear water.
Yeah. Some people don't really realize that even on a big field of whether it be hay or another crop, nitrogen sometimes will burn the top of it, especially if the conditions are right. So,
yeah, that's right.
So I understand you have a really big customer that you send about 80,000 plants to before Christmas. Can you tell us a little bit about that customer and how did that partnership or relationship start?
Well, we got in with Walt Disney World in Orlando. Gosh, it was probably in the 80s. It's been so long, I can't tell you for sure. But we've been selling to them for many, many years. before COVID, we would sell between 60 and 80,000 poinsettias to Disney World every year. Since COVID, it has really cut back drastically. They're only buying about 10, 12,000 plants.
Really?
Now a year. And we also do the Upperland Hotel in Nashville that does a real big business, Christmas promotion.
Yeah. Yeah, well, poinsettia is one of my favorite flowers. I don't know what's the flower or the time of year that makes it special, but it always is a special flower. I know in agriculture, we depend a lot on technology when it comes to sustainability and taking care of being efficient in our businesses. Tell us how that fits in a greenhouse situation.
Well, we use a good bit of technology. One of the big things is in our planning, and we put in a new system this spring that'll make it a lot easier to plan each crop out, and it helps you know that you got your cuttings ordered, or you know when to plant your seeds so that they finish at the right time. On all your crops, you start with your finish date. You start with when you want to sell it, and you
Work
back up, and you work back to everything, and all the way back to, of course, you got your planting date for the plant in the pot. Then you got your planting date for if you're planting seed in a plug, or the date to stick the cutting to root it so that it'll finish, so it's ready for the planting date. And of course, you back up, then you have to order plants. You have to order your soil, get your pots ordered, and have everything lined up so it's here, and you can do the crop all the way through. And like in the spring, it's like, say, caladiums. It's not one crop. You plant, say, your 6-inch caladium, you're going to plant about 6 or 8 crops. You'll plant we'll say you plant every 2 weeks. So you got a crop, that's a different crop each time. And then you got 4-inch caladiums, you got 10-inch caladiums. And with every item that would grow, it's the same way. You got several crops. And so you got to be able to keep up with every individual crop. So we got several hundred crops coming off every spring. And so you need a good computer system to help you keep track of everything.
So that little book you tote around your pocket of your shirt, it don't cut it anymore, does it?
I just don't quite do it.
We all used to have that little book we toted around in our shirt and kept notes down. Now we do it on our phone and in our computers. It's really changed a lot of things. So I heard you talk a little bit about water and fertilizer, and on that big of a nursery, I'm sure that you do a lot of conservation work and utilizing the water probably multiple times. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, of course, we do what we can. Our water comes out of Weiss Lake, which is a 33,000 acre lake out there. So there's a lot of water.
Right.
We pump into a pond and let that water settle and clear. And then we pump into the greenhouse. And the water, I guess a lot of it eventually goes back to the lake again, and it's just kind of a recycle type deal. Of course, all our watering is overhead. We've tried drip irrigation and that kind of thing, but there's just too much debris or too much stuff in the water, and it'll stop up our drip lines and stuff.
Right.
And so we just have to work with overhead.
Yeah. A lot of people don't really understand that. Just irrigation sounds simple, but there's so many variables in the not quality of water, but what the water contains and how well and plants thrive differently on how you put it on. Some want a big droplet, and some want it sprayed, it just kind of all over the board, and you have to find the one that fits your operation and the forage that you're trying to grow. And a lot of people don't really understand that. I know that I've read a little bit about your community work with local schools, churches, youth organizations like FFA. Tell us a little bit about that and what it's done for your business.
Well, we've always, been community minded. I've been a volunteer firefighter in our community. It started in '82, and as soon as I heard about it, I joined. And I've been the fire chief there for about 20 years now, serving the community in that way. Of course, as far as the civic groups and FFA and that type of thing, we work with them and help them any way we can. There's the middle school here in town has a little greenhouse, and they'll call us every now and then. We'll go help them. We'll help them get it put up. We'll donate them some plants from time to time. Their trade school in town, it's been the same way over the years. We've helped them some. Of course, I'm a member of the Farmers Federation, a board member here in Cherokee County, and I'm the chairman of the Alabama Greenhouse Nursery and Sod State Committee. So we stay pretty busy.
They stay pretty busy. For those of you who don't know, most farm bureaus call themselves like Georgia Farm Bureau or Arkansas Farm Bureau. Alabama's a little bit different. They call themselves the Alabama Federation of Farmer Federation, and have a really great organization there with some tremendous leadership. But I always tell everybody, Hank, that the most important leadership in our organization is the one that runs that county farm bureau. So we appreciate your commitment there and being part of your county farm bureau there. So thank you so much for that, because it helps us connect our agriculture to our community, just like you were talking about, because all those men and women that sit on our county boards, 2,800 counties across the country, all of them come from a different community. So I describe our organization like a spider web. We touch every community in this country, and in that way, in doing that, we serve those communities through our great volunteer leaders at the county level. So thank you so much for that effort that you put there. So is there anything else you'd like for people to know about your nursery or anything else?
Well, it's just, we let me think. We're located in a rural part of the country. Cherokee County is a very rural county. I think there's maybe 25,000 people in the whole county. And that's been a benefit to us for most of our years, because we could find people to work. There's a lot of agriculture in our area, a lot of cotton, corn, soybeans, that kind of thing. And we're just glad to be part of the farming community. Grew up on farm, and we contemplated trying to make a living on just row crop farming and that kind of thing. And back in the 70s, things were pretty tight. And my brother had a friend that suggested we build a greenhouse. Him and his dad had one. They had a garden center. And so that's what got us off into the greenhouse business. And it just worked pretty good for us. And we expanded and grew. And that's one of the great things about our country. You can build a business and grow it and make something of it. It just takes the dedication and a lot of work.
Yeah, and it's not good for us all to do the same thing. And we're grateful that you grow the beauty that we enjoy all around, whether it be holidays or whether it just be everyday landscaping that we get to enjoy around our home. So we very much appreciate what you do. So we want to thank you for being with us and telling us a little bit about your farm and about this wonderful plant that we enjoy around Christmas. And we hope that your business continues to grow for your children that have come back there to continue to operate there. So I hope everybody's enjoyed talking about poinsettias and nursery business in the South here. Practically a neighbor of mine on the other side of the state from me, and we look forward to enjoying those poinsettias again this year as we go into the Christmas season. But I'd remind everything, the flowers are beautiful, but the most important thing about Christmas is what it really represents, and that's our Lord and Savior. So, and His birth. So we hope that everyone will focus on that and the family, and enjoy the plants around it. And we've enjoyed the conversation today with Hank Richardson, who runs Dixie Green Nursery in Alabama. And thank you for being with us today. And we both want to wish all of you a wonderful day and a wonderful season. And we just hope that God continues to bless you. Thank you for joining us.